Hello there, Libra. Thank you for stopping by for your tarot video forecast for the week of August 17th through the 23rd. I'm using my Wildwood Tarot today. So let's just get started. On Monday, what you have is you have the Eight of Arrows showing up in reverse, and this is struggle. This is talking about struggle. And so this is being in reverse is a good thing. So this is just basically telling me that you have been dealing with a struggle where you've had obstacle after obstacle after obstacle come at you, and yet you have managed to keep hope. You have managed to keep moving forward one step at a time. Boom, 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 keep moving. On Monday, the struggle comes to an end. So one of two things happens. Either you have reached your target or reached your goal, and now you don't have to do this struggle anymore, or you have decided, you know what? I'm done. This is not worth all the effort I'm putting into it. One way or the other, that struggle is ending on Monday for you, Libras. And I do feel like this is going to manifest both ways for you, about a 50-50 split. So you've got some of you are just saying, that's enough, I'm out. And some of you are actually getting to your target or your goal on Monday. Now on Tuesday, Libra, you have the Guardian card. And the Guardian card just talks about facing your fears. If you notice that behind this skeleton-y looking guy, there's this path running behind him. And I like to think of that as our life path. And so whenever the Guardian comes up in a reading, what I feel like is that this is a time when we're facing some of our biggest fears, some of those that maybe are the least grounded, but they really get to us. And as we face those big fears, give them that 1-2 knockout punch, what happens is we're able to move forward on our life path much more productively than we were before, because we're not limited by that fear anymore. Now, a lot of times when we face our fears, what happens is we start to kind of think about them a little bit, and we decide, well, you know what, why is this so scary? That's the first thing we look at. And then when we look at, well, why is this so scary? A lot of times we're like, wait a second, I'm scared of this? That's not even rational. Why would I be afraid of that? So a lot of times, really, when we take apart our fears and really look at them, they're not anything to be afraid of anyway. And so that's what this card is talking about, is just taking apart our fears, looking at them, going, wow, how silly of me, and then just moving forward. So it's a really great card to have come up. Now, on Wednesday, what we have is the Eight of Vessels in reverse. Now this can be good, this can be bad, it just kind of depends on your situation. This is more of one of those neutral cards. Depends on your perspective. Eight of Vessels coming up is telling me that you had a situation that you had walked away from, and when you walked away from it, you did that because you felt like the situation was depleting you. You were putting in more energy and effort into this situation than you were getting back from it, and it was just wearing you down. So now, for whatever reason, on Wednesday, you've decided to go back to this situation. Has the situation really changed? We hope so. That's why you would walk back into it. Nobody would walk back into the same thing. So that's kind of how it can be good or how it can be bad. If the situation has really changed for the positive, then it can be good to go back in there. If the situation has not really changed, then we know what the outcome is going to be. We're going to end up feeling depleted before long again anyway. So on Wednesday, I just see you walking back, and I wish you the best of luck. I hope things really have changed and that it works out for you. On Thursday, what we have showing up is we have the Six of Stones, the Six of Stones, which is exploitation, trying to make stones into exploitation. So that's what it's actually labeled in the deck. And when I see the Six of Stones come up in this deck, it does talk to me about somebody taking advantage of us. And for a lot of you, unfortunately, Libras, I see where you walked back into this situation. I see this as being connected to somebody taking advantage of you. So maybe you left because you felt like you were being taken advantage of. Now you've walked back in thinking, okay, they've learned their lesson now, and now I can come back and they won't take advantage of me. I see this happening again, that they're just, and maybe even exactly the same way that they used to do it before, just because they think they can get away with it because you came back. But I do see exploitation going on Thursday. So for those of you who are seeing this reading ahead of time, this gives you a kind of a heads up. It gives you a chance to look at this perspective and look at the situation really well and decide, you know, do I really want to go back into that situation? Because everything is controlled by free will. What I'm reading is just the general energies right now. So first of all, not all of this is going to apply to everybody. But secondly, because free will does change things, you have the ability to change what shows up in a reading so that it doesn't actually manifest in your life. Okay, so that's the good thing about getting these readings ahead of time. If some things show up that you really were kind of hoping to avoid, you can avoid them. All right, so Friday, what do we have coming up? We have the Four of Stones showing up. And this card is labeled as protection. I really do see it as protection. This is shelter for this little baby deer here. And so this is really telling me that, and I feel like, once again, this is tied in with Thursday. Like, you've been exploited. I feel like you are finding a way to shelter yourself or shield yourself from that kind of exploitation. So you're taking some kind of active measures to make it a little bit harder for somebody to exploit you in the way they've been exploiting you. Now, on Saturday, what we have showing up is we have the Ancestor in reverse. The Ancestor in reverse really is telling me that you are going to Spirit. So maybe you're praying or maybe you're meditating, but you're going to Spirit to get some advice about your situation. That's what I feel like is coming in on Saturday. Like, you're turning to God. You're saying, hey, I need help with this. I don't even know what to do with this anymore. And so that's what I see coming up. Now, not everybody prays just in that style, but I think you kind of get the picture. You know, you're turning to your spirituality and you're trying to find some answers with your spirituality on Saturday about what you should be doing with the situation and you know, why you haven't so far. How do you move forward from this? Sunday, I have an interaction with somebody showing up, and this is coming up as the Fox, or the Knight of Bows. And so whenever we look at the Fox, we know that the Fox is extremely, extremely smart, can be very sneaky, but also has a good sense of humor. And when he comes in right side up, I don't see so much of that sneakiness in that personality whenever a person comes in right side up as the Fox. So this is more about enjoying having fun, liking to have fun, liking to make jokes, liking to maybe even do little practical jokes here and there, but definitely liking to laugh, liking to have a good time, liking to travel, really thinking outside the box. This is not somebody who's going to be doing the same thing day after day after day after day. This is somebody who's going to be shaking it up a little bit and mixing it up a little bit. They like to be kept on their toes and have fresh things to think about because they are so smart. And so I see you have an interaction with a person like this on Sunday. And I will tell you that a lot of times when I first started reading, this person generally would show up as a male person, as a male gendered person. But lately, the Fox has started showing up for me in readings as a male or as a female. So basically, the personality description that I'm giving could be a man or could be a woman that you're interacting with on Sunday. And I feel like you're going to have a good time with them. This person is going to have you cracking up and laughing. I don't feel like this is somebody that you're going to want to spend, you know, a whole lot of time with. I think that feels to me like Libras are a little bit too intense for you. They're just high energy. They're just always on. And for you, this is, it just feels like it's a little bit too much for you, but it is enjoyable in shorter doses. And I feel like you're going to enjoy your time with this person on Sunday. So Libra, that is your week. For those of you who would like to schedule a private session with me, feel free to check out my website. I'm at amista.info, amista.info. Once you're there and you've looked around and you feel like I'm the best reader for you, then go ahead and contact me and we will schedule a session for you as quickly as possible. I don't have a really long wait list right now, so you should be able to get in for a reading with me either the day you contact me or the day after. And I just want to tell everybody who's here, thank you so much for watching, for liking, for sharing, for subscribing. For all of you who have already had readings from me, thank you so much. Thank you everybody for all of your support. I appreciate it. And I hope you all have a fantastic week. I will be back here next week. I'll see you all then. Peace out.